I took Davy home. I gotta tell you this story of Davy Tough. Davy they called me up one time. He was at the Forest Bar. And then they come up to get Davy. Well, he wasn't working with me then. I'd gotten him on the wagon, you know, and he was with me for about 2 years, and he was real straight until he went to Bermuda or something, or the trip with Carmen Master and those guys, and he fell off the wagon with a real big bang, you know. So this is about his 4th or 5th episode, and every time he gets real loaded, he starts looking for me. I'm the guy who can get him straight. So they told me about it. This was about 1938 or 39 or something. I went up to the Forest Bar, and boy, he was a wreck. He looked like he'd been on Skid Row for years, you know, a real down and outer. So I took him home, and I said, now look, what we'll do with this guy, we'll give him a couple of drinks during the day, and then we'll start mixing a little bit of water, you know, and make him think he's getting some booze, you know, and then later on, we get him sober, you know. And when he's sober, we can talk to him. You can stop. First of all, you gotta get him sober. He was so drunk. So, the thing isn't working. He's not responding to the usual treatment, you know. And I thought, gee, this is awful. There's something going on now. He's getting some booze someplace. I gotta find out. I was collecting miniatures. You know,
yeah.
I'm gonna have a nice display of all these little fancy miniature bottles. So I went looking around one day, and there they are. All of them are gone. My collection of miniatures disappeared fast. Davy knocked them all off. Like every one of them.
A miniature.
I'll tell you another guy. Did you know that Jimmy Plunkett used to down it away?
Yeah, the bar up there.
Yeah. No, I mean the son, not the old man. Oh, the old man was a real life. She used to throw us out every night. But his son, remember, he used to wear the cap all the time?
Yeah, sure.
Jimmy Plunkett, the thin guy, no hair, you know. He found, well, naturally being in the bootlegging business and running a speakeasy, he knew all the tricks of the trade. Now, in about 1930, I went on the wagon in 1933, and I didn't drink for about, I guess about 8 or 9 years, 7 or 8 years, I don't remember. But anyway, I was on the wagon, and I had this house in Jersey, and I had it pretty well stocked with liquor. And I was pretty proud of some of the booze we had. I used to look at it and say, ooh, I wish I could knock that off, you know. And I'd show everybody the Mount Vernon and all this stuff, you know, because my episodes in drinking was the label didn't mean anything. Now I had whiskey that said Mount Vernon, and it was. You know, something besides the town. You know. So, all of a sudden, Jimmy left. He was living with us in Burnsville. And he went in town, I think Gene and Bern or somebody, they got together and they were going to go into business or something, and some people came out one day and they wanted some Mount Vernon rye whiskey. So I went up and opened a bottle of Mount Vernon, I poured it on, it's water. I opened another one, and it's water. Well, I went through about 7 or 8 bottles of Mount Vernon. I must have had about 6 or 7 cases of it there, and it was all water. Plunkett had been loaded for about 2 years, and I didn't even know the guy took a drink. It was a habit of his. One night, there was a place called the Everglades across the street from the Parody Club. You remember the Everglades Club? I was working with Eddie Elkins at the Parody Club, and Joe Candulo had the band across the street at the Everglades. And it was a late spot. They used to stay over about 6 o'clock in the morning. We used to finish kind of early, around 4. So we'd get gas with anything. We'd get gasoline, whatever you had that had alcoholic content, that's what we drink. It didn't make any difference what it came out of or what. Just as long as you could get loaded on it, that was for us. So this one night, Jimmy Crossan, God rest his soul, Jimmy's dead now too. We got loaded with Vanistelli. He was working with Candulo. We went over and sat down. We had a good bag on him when we got there. We had another jug with us, and we went over waiting for Henry. Henry was pretty well loaded. So we sat around and played a couple tunes with the band and knocked off some more booze. And the first thing you know, now we're really fractured. And they're trying to get us out of the joint, and Henry's getting loaded by the band. And he's sitting at the piano. All of a sudden, he falls off the thing and spread eagles onto the piano, and we couldn't move him. We left him there. The next day he woke up and he didn't know where he was. And they had oilcloth on the wall with paintings of the Everglades, you know, simulate the Everglades, and he saw all these palm trees hanging down, and then, man, he went out of his mind. He didn't know where he was. He was like a little mirror place. He couldn't find a door.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing.
And all this time, people were paying to get into places that we used to play. Joe Benuti had a band at a place called the Playground. Tommy Guinan's Playground was a very exclusive supper club. It didn't open until about 11 o'clock at night. And they charged a fabulous fee. I think it was $25 or $30 for a bottle of champagne. It was Applejack with baking soda in it. Ginger ale. Benuti had the band. It would start out with about 7 men, and by about 4 in the morning, there'd be 30 guys up there jamming. Brad Gowan. Oh, man.
Benita's a wonderful guy. Joe got started hell tonight when he was sitting listening to Wingy Manone play, but some autograph on it. So one of the kids from the racing over and made Joe sign this, and was worrying a lot of stupid questions. He finally asked Joe, he said, how did Wingy lose his arm? And Joe was losing all places at this time, so he said, well, you know, he said, we New Orleans people were funny. He said, Joe said Wingy's father just got sore and pulled it off. The guy just vanished.
Was it my brother gave Wingy a Christmas present, gave him one coupling? I gotta tell you one more, then I have to go.
That's a beautiful thought.
Now, Joe Benuti, Eddie Lang, and first piano player was Chummy McGregor, but Chummy couldn't play the show, so they had to let him go and get Frankie Signorelli. And my brother, I believe Red was in the band. It was a 7-piece band. They had a bass player by the name of Angelo Kerman. You remember him? He's the guy, the first time they ever would be in it, if nickels were full of, if his nose was full of nickels, he'd be a millionaire. Well, he came in one night at about 11 o'clock, the band started, and he's playing. And he says to the busboy, get me a steak, will you? Steak sandwich. So evidently they got an early call, early rush. People started coming after the theater, and the place started to fill up right away. Probably about 200 people it would hold, you know. And he said about 15, 20 minutes later, he said, where's my steak sandwich? The busboy says, oh, come on. 45 minutes go by now, and he says, hey, where's my steak sandwich? The busboy said, I haven't got time. The guy was playing, he stood for a while, and by this time the busboy got about 20 or 30 feet from him, and he started steaming. He picked up the bass, and the busboy was going out with a tray of dishes. He took the bass fiddle and he threw it in. He knocked him over about 5 or 6 tables. This is only in a club where you had to dress to come in. You couldn't get in without tuxedo. And we got away with it.
That's a great comfort for the band.
Pete Edson ran the place, one of the toughest guys in New York City, a real hoodlum. But he thought the band was great. It was his idea, you know. And the band could do no wrong. Everybody was wrong. There was a guy by the name of Van Loon putting on the shows. And he complained about the music all the time. And finally the guy said, look, if you don't like the music, you'll go put your show on someplace else. Them are my boys. Pete Edson. I think he's in jail now, I think. All the time. We'll have to pay some income taxes along the line. So. He ran the Abbey Club, you know, when they came in there one night and shot it up. Remember Pete Edson?
You had a lot of clubs in town.
Sure, he was a big man one time.
He was one of the boys.
I think he was one of Doug Schultz's guys at the time. I think it was somebody else's money.
Do you remember that story about Benuti cooking the cat?
No, that wasn't Benuti. That was a fellow by the name of Ralph Magaviro, a guitar player.
Was it?
Yeah. I saw him a couple of months ago. We were in Philadelphia, and I go down to see him all the time. Who did I take down to his house? We had spaghetti. We went over to do something, talk to him about a television deal, and we went down to his house and had some spaghetti. His wife fixed it up. Ralph Magaviro is the guy that after the job likes to go home and eat. So Freddie Valeno and Val Abbey, I think it was, and George Sigmund. They said, let's have some fun with Ralph. He likes to eat. He likes rabbit. So then they got a cat. They killed it and skinned it and cooked it up. And served it to Ralph. When Ralph came home and sat down and ate it, it was all caviar or pheasant under a glass, you know. Finally, after they get all through, I said, how was it? He says, great, great, wonderful, wonderful. And he got out one of these old 2-cent, you get 2-cent cigars, you know, the black little Italian cigars that can bend in them. You can't say, oh, he'll smoke you out in about 2 seconds. Sat down like it was a real Corona, and he started smoking. He said, it's great, wonderful, wonderful, best I ever had. I said, that was a cat. It's a good cat. Get some more. Ever since then, they call the guy the cat. He ate a cat. We would call him, I related, I said, is that right or not, Al? He said, sure, it's good, it's good. He's working in the Navy Yard now.
You know, that reminds me of what was happening to Willie Smith a lot. Phil Dash and I went up there about, we got to Willie's place at just about 10 o'clock at night. Of course, that's like going to an office at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
And nobody was there with Willie. But Willie was all done out. He had on the cutaway coat,
Yeah.
striped trousers, and fun vest. And he was playing a set just from the Ashman set. And he finished, and they brought over the big long cigar. So Willie put it on, strolled over to the front door, forgetting that it was February. So he opened the door and practically blew off the hinges. It was the worst blizzard in the history of New York at the time. So Willie was throwing his weight against the door. Snow was flying in like a W.C. Fields movie. He bent the cigar and he was all ruffled. He finally starts back across the piano and he's sore as hell. He turned to Dash myself and he said, man, it's like a stampede out there.
Yesterday afternoon, we were rehearsing down at the Edgewater, and there was a lot of people around, you know. And we were trying out some things to see if the band could balance itself because everybody's so far away, so we put Charlie Shavers out to play. Now, there was one section of the floor where the microphone was, the sun was really beaten down. Charlie's this little color guy we got in the band. And he's as wide now as he is tall. He used to be a little slender, going through real fast. He used to be a little guy. So he struts out there, and he looks up into the sun, and it blinds him. And I said, Charlie, that's sunshine. He says, why don't they bottle it?
It's true, now Senator told me that Lionel Hampton was on a billboard as big as one of the electric sounds in down Times Square up on Lenox Avenue, and Lionel was grinning over the vibraphones at least 3 times life size.
Yeah.
The product is
Manischewitz wine.
Manischewitz is real crazy.
Put that down again.
Manischewitz is real crazy.
I don't go in much for the Bob stories, but you know, this crazy stuff they have, the boppers, a couple of things are funny, and one is real funny. It's a bopper walking down the street, and he's in car number 7, and there's an organ grinder there, and he's playing a tune, and a monkey's right on the organ grind, you know, on the organ, and the guy's turning away, and the guy walked up, he said, man, I don't dig your music, but you got a crazy son.